Alright everyone, welcome back to the South Sibs. I know I've taken a long hiatus. This is the H.E.C. here. Q's not with me at the moment. You know, he's following quarantine regulations and things of that nature. And me and him apparently are both essential in our workplaces. So nevertheless, I had the joy of quickly getting us an interview that I've been wanting to do for a long time prior to this whole damn pandemic going down. But I'm glad that I finally had the spare time to actually get this recorded and get the interview done going. Let me introduce my guest at this time, the artist known as Lady.
Hi, thank you for having me here, I guess.
Well, yes, welcome to the fucking most prestigious show you could be on right now. Nah, I appreciate you being on. And like I said, I've been wanting to schedule this interview for a long time. I actually had the luck of knowing you personally.
Yeah.
So one thing that I wanted to bring up with you is the fact that what would you consider your art to be? What would you consider it to be necessarily? In your own words, how are you going to describe your own art?
Describing my art? In reality, I don't really think of my artwork being art in itself. I think of it more as being, just random little doodles that I do every now and then. Yeah, like it's something that passes through. It's kind of a hobby.
Well, the quality of these doodles, even if you consider them just doodles, the quality of them is pretty amazing from the looks of it, and I could tell that you have some pride in them because you do have a DeviantArt. It's under Lady Death 1301, and that's where majority of it is seen. But you do have very amazing quality doodles that I think for other people like myself and the viewers that your page gets, it is impressive to us. Even if you might consider them doodles, the amount of skill and the amount of detail within them, it's you gotta pat yourself on the back. Don't be too humble now.
What would you like to ask?
Well, in regards to that, what do you think is the main motivation? Do you think it would be boredom then, or what do you personally feel is the main motivation in regards to these art pieces that you're doing?
Main motivation for my artwork? I think it's mostly just because I see other people drawing, and then, I think, I want to try doing that too.
Okay, but is there any specific names that come to mind, or is it more or less if you're going on DeviantArt yourself and if there's something you'd like to see, if there's an art style you try, is there anything you try to replicate, or do you feel like you got to put a personal touch to it to make it necessarily your own?
Well, in all honesty, funny thing was that, whenever I draw, like I said, they're just random doodles. There's really no actual, key concept or reason for me drawing something. I mean, I just draw it because, I get the idea in my head, or I just look at something and I'm like, oh, that's neat. I want to draw that.
Okay, well, it's because when you see the majority of your artwork, it's very kind of cryptic. It has a nice dark feel to it, a gothic type of feel. It has the shading techniques. It has, parts of the realism. I know the one that catches my attention is this one seems to be a mythical creature and has arrows in its back. Or if not, you have this mythical creature, which is a very, has the skull in front of it and has the ears and everything. And so when we see that, I see that majority of your work consists of animals.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at drawing creatures. People, not that much. I've been kind of getting out of touch of drawing actual people. As you can tell from the previous artworks that I've done, I used to draw them a lot, and then afterwards I kind of just went into more drawing animals and cryptids and stuff.
Now, there's one that I think goes beyond your typical doodle, because you say they're doodles, but for the amount of quality and the way how you're putting it in, why do you necessarily just insist on calling them doodles? Is it like an act of humbleness, or is it to you it seems so nonchalant that you're surprised that people see it as the artwork that it is?
I guess in a way you're right on that, on the fact that, I just draw it nonchalantly, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's pretty okay, I guess. And, I don't really, have a lot of thought put into the artwork that I make. In reality, all of it, I just randomly just, splurge on and just say, oh, I want to draw this, or I want to draw that. It isn't really, a whole thought-out process to it.
In, the piece entitled King of the Sky, digitalized, what do you have to say about that piece necessarily? Because that one is a full-on dragon. It has the color schemes. It has the shading. It has, the...
like I said, it's also a doodle. That was one of the original pieces for in one of my sketchbooks that I had from back in high school, and I just decided to just make it into a digital copy. If you look in there, there should be, in my DeviantArt, there should be a file that says sketchbook, the original, and that's where a lot of these ideas came from, where I drew all of these back in high school, and I just decided to make them a little bit more than what they were originally.
Right. I mean, prior to the creatures, I see that majority of your art was, at the time, creepypasta based. What would you have to say about that? What was it just something that you were into, or was it like a niche?
No, the creepypasta thing was mostly because of a commission that somebody had asked me for. I can't really think of the name at the top of my head right now because it's been forever since I've drawn them. But somebody once told me, hey, could you draw this for me? And so I drew them on there. So, I mean, it was more of like one of those just random moments. So, like, I just thought, oh, okay, cool.
Right. And I also see that you do have photos of your own cats.
Yep.
So I know I've actually got the luck to see these cats in person. But how would you describe your cats to the audience?
Nebula, he is the bigger one. He is a coon mix, and he is in very nice terms, an asshole.
And for you said you have multiple, so in regards to the other one?
In regards to the other one, the other cat, the smaller one that you see in the pictures along with his brother, that is Phantasma. He is a very Brady cat, actually. Like, you'll walk up to him and he'll run away from you. Like, he's always been pretty skittish.
Well, like, did you get them? Did you purchase them? What like, how necessarily did you have your cats? Because I know my cats were given to me by somebody who's hopefully I'm going to have the time to edit her show. My cat was given to me by Mel Bunny, and that's Fuji. That's the cat that infamously cut the fuck out of Q's back on our second episode of the podcast. But, how necessarily were you shown to your cats?
Well, Nebulous, he was given to us by a family friend, or, like, you know, technically part of the family. Apparently the story for him was the fact that he was picked up by her husband, and it turns out that one of the kids may have been allergic to cats or something, and so they couldn't keep him. Just so you know, they thought he was a chick as well, so we thought at first that we had gotten a girl cat, and that was not the case. Definitely not. My vet bill says otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Nebulous from them. He was just given to us as a gift. Fansa, however, he was found in a dumpster, which is why he's been referred to as the dumpster baby.
Like, was this just a
I
random
don't know.
dumpster?
Actually, I got off of work one day, and my coworker told me that a little kitten had just crawled itself, like pulled itself out of a trash can. And we were just like, what? So, yep, me and another lady who had come outside of her car from a store from the other area, she had seen the cat as well. So we had gone ahead and chased him around up until we caught him. And so I was going to originally I was going to give him to a shelter or find a foster home for him. But then we got a thing called attached to the cat. So now we have him as well.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an interesting origin stories for both. Now, if I want to go back to something I wanted to talk to, I believe it was your Pinterest, where you seem to be like, if you're doing a series, more or less, would you be able to give more information on that, or is that something you are keeping under hush-hush at the moment?
For right now, that one's a little bit under hush-hush because I still haven't hashed out all of the other things about it because, you know, this is a series that I have been working on since high school. I have multiple series that I have been working on since high school. However, I have not yet posted most of the complete storylines or anything. I haven't really talked much about it except for the fact that I'm working on it and it's still a work in progress. But I do know that maybe coming the end of this year, I may release some of the files and start actually fixing up all of the old sketches that I had for the outlines and the base work for the manga itself, and I might just actually start posting it online.
Okay. Now, what necessarily was your motivation in regards to writing these storylines or to making these things? You know, you don't have to give me the specifics of them.
It was literally just sheer boredom. I got bored during class, I guess, and, you know, originally it was because it was spurred on completely by a previous friend.
Right.
Who said that she knows that I draw and she knows that, like, I do a lot of things with artwork. So I just decided to say, okay, cool.
Something that I did want to get asked upon is, I know with everything going on, how necessarily are you handling this is it more time to be creative? Are you one of the lucky few individuals deemed essential at this time, or how's production in art-wise going for you at this time?
Technically speaking, I am part of the committee of being an essential worker. However, right now, due to something that happened at work, I am on leave temporarily for a week, just to make sure that nothing's going on and whatever. But yeah.
So, I notice how you are not, other than the art that you have and other than the art that we've seen, there was a time where you were advertising commissions. You had spoken about drawing something for anyone. How has that venture gone for you, if you don't mind me asking?
I have gotten a few commissions and I've turned them in, but some of the people for these commissions, they actually told me just to send it to them in an email. They didn't actually want me to post it on the DeviantArt, and so I understand that one.
Right. I'm not going to display them. I'm just asking how's it going. How from the business end of it, how is it going for your end?
The business end of it is going okay. Going pretty well, but like seeing the climate is right now, no one is really asking for commissions. It's more of like people are just kind of trying to save up on money because of the whole coronavirus going on.
Right.
So really, drawings and commissions are not really something that's like an essential needed item, which is why nobody's really asking for any.
Right. Now, you think once this passes over, do you think there might be a change in that, or do you feel like it's going to be slow baby steps for the art world to recover? Because I
think it's going to be baby steps just until the economy kind of like kicks back up into gear. Just with like all that's going on right now, it's kind of hectic and crazy. So I don't think anybody's going to be wanting to have drawings made at this point because of the fact of everything just being haywire.
Right. Well, I got to give you some appreciation and some respect for the art that you have made and the stuff that you have been releasing, because of the fact that it is a nice, distraction, a visual distraction from the consistencies of things that we're seeing on whether it be TV, social media. It's a nice thing to see when someone's trying to put content, just to kind of assist in helping everybody chill down, especially with how severe things are going on the outside. When you, in the events that you do have leisure time, is it just relaxing, or is it more hitting back the drawing board or coming up with a new idea to work with, or working on a new art piece?
Well, right now, currently, since I don't actually have, homework or anything to do today, I've actually am working on a drawing right now.
Okay.
As we're speaking, funnily enough.
Oh, okay, so it's not, okay, because I was wondering, like, you sound distracted. I was under the impression that was making you nervous. I didn't know that you were actually working on something else. My apologies.
Yeah, no, I'm currently working on something, yeah.
Right.
Which is the reason why I keep on getting distracted, because I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to color this in, because the funny thing is, since I'm colorblind, I don't really know what the heck I'm drawing half the time, or coloring in half the time. Sometimes I get good reactions, sometimes I get bad reactions, and they're wondering what the heck was I drawing, what was I thinking.
Now, do you mind if I ask more about the fact that you're an artist who is colorblind, or is that too personal or too taboo of a subject matter for you?
That was fine. I'm completely fine with talking about that because it's kind of a funny thing.
So is it because of the fact that you're colorblind that majority of your drawings are black and white, or consist of a silhouette patterns or things of that nature? There's really not that much work that has color within it?
Yeah, it is. That is actually one of the main reasons why a lot of my colors are a lot of my drawings are just drawn in no color, because of the fact that I don't know what I'm coloring in, so I just leave it as is, or I'll just shade it in, because I have no clue what I'm doing. For commissions, usually people will tell me to draw their original characters, and in that thank you, they'll give me a color palette of the character that they want, so I can just go ahead and put that into my paint tool, and I can just leave that on the side. So every now and then I can just I drop the color into the correct area.
Right, and I know with the world of commissions, I have to ask, how much of the percentage of your artwork would you consider NSFW?
Well, you see, what had happened was, we're going to go ahead and just say Rule 34 on that one, because if it can be drawn, it can be done.
Oh my god.
We're just going to go ahead and just say that.
Right. Now, does that, and I just have to ask, I don't know if this crosses that boundary and being too personal for you. You're obviously having me call you lady, so I'm just going to highly assume that you're female. But that being said, does that make you uncomfortable, or do you feel like it's kind of upsetting? Would you be more favorable not drawing that stuff, or does it bother you that more people request that than what you would assume is regular art in your standards?
In reality, no. A lot of people actually don't ask for NSFW things. It's mostly people asking for character designs and whatnot. It really isn't mostly, they want you to draw this and this. It's not really like that. It's more of, can you draw this for me? I'm not too good at drawing these kinds of characters. Would you be willing to? So, no, not a lot of my work is NSFW, as you can tell, obviously.
Right.
Some of the things that I've created on there are commissions, others are not. It just depends. But not a lot of people actually ask for NSFW. I haven't had that many commissions for that.
Okay. But does it make you uncomfortable when you get those, or do you just shrug them off like it's just part of the business?
Yeah, it's just part of the business, I guess, because, being an artist, you gotta get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Like, you can't say you're never gonna draw hands because you suck at them, because eventually you're gonna have to draw them.
Right. So you're someone who likes to, like, hone their craft, then. You want to go outside of your element and try to continuously work on it till you master it? Okay. And I know there's, I forgot which, I think it's Rob Liefeld, if I'm not mistaken, but there's like a comic artist who always gets parodied for his inability to draw feet. So with you saying that you intentionally look for challenges, why do you feel like that's important for you?
I think it's important, mostly just because, it gives you the ability to, like, work something out, to experiment with different things. Like I said, you can't just always be saying you're never going to draw hands, because if everybody's seen my page, I suck at drawing hands, so I have not drawn hands that often. Sometimes I will if it's in the smaller scale drawing, where it's not that much detail or focus onto it. But learning the anatomy of people and animals, looking at their bone structure and stuff like that. I guess it's more of like the things you learn. Trying to do research while you're drawing is, the great thing about, stepping out of your comfort zone.
Okay, well, yeah, because I know a lot of people who, if they have a weakness, they do their best to hide the weakness or to have something else going on. Whether it be, I'm not good with drawing hands, so let's make this character have like a superpower that has this giant bubble or something covering the hands, or has these, like, an item within the hands that's covering the hands or something of that nature. But for you to tell me that you don't intentionally try to do it, that you intentionally try to face the challenge, it's kind of admirable to see, because I know if somebody specializes in something, they're afraid of getting exposed on a weak aspect. So what would you have to say if anyone who is personally doing art or is working on art, what do you have to say to them if they're trying an element or an aspect that they feel that they're very weak on? What do you feel like, what is your advice to them?
My advice? Just keep going for it. Even if it's out of your comfort zone, the stuff that you learn and, the fun time you have while learning how to do it is, that's probably worth it all in the end. Especially since, like, at the end of the day, you've tried. Even if, like, your dresses are not, like, perfectly shaded in, or, like, your eyes aren't as bright as you want them to be, you at least tried. So, hey, that's kudos to you right there.
You've been at this for a long time in regards to, like, seeing the origins of the first trait. So what necessarily, because I know you saw them, and when you were talking to me at the beginning, you were just nonchalantly describing them as doodles and things of that nature. But what made you take that extra step of saying, I'm going to display this to the public, or I'm not going to keep this just on my board, I'm going to go show this? Because you have quite a following.
Well, for that, the main reason why I started posting it on there was actually because my sister told me, hey, you should post this online, and I told her, no, that's a dumb idea. But then, I thought about it, and so I made the DeviantArt at first just so I can look at the different pictures on there, because some people on there are amazing at art. And I really liked looking at the different designs and things. And I thought to myself one day, you know what? I'm going to put one on there. So this is back in ninth grade when I first posted one of my drawings on there. The picture itself is somewhere in my room. I can actually look around and see if I can find the original sketch for it. But that was one of the first pictures that I posted online because I thought to myself, oh, well, I mean, there are some people who draw kind of like me, and there are other people who draw way better than me. So, I mean, it's a mixed match of different types of drawing. So, I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. I'm just going to go ahead and post this on there. Yeah. And so I did, and I guess that led from here.
Now, the first piece that I'm seeing, it says that it was posted on January 9th, 2016. It doesn't have a name to it specifically. However, it does, for my description of the character, it seems like a angel-devil mix of a character. It has the horns, but it has the halo as well. It says TSUKIWALTZ. I don't want to butcher that pronunciation. Would you be able to do that for me?
Hold on. Let me go ahead and pull it up.
Suzuki Waltz is my best guess at it.
Yeah, Suzuki Waltz. Yeah. That was actually because of the fact that I was listening to a song, so I just went ahead and I just used the name of the song to put it on there because that was what I was listening to, what I was jamming out to when I drew it.
Okay. Now, do you think that the music that you listen to has any inspiration or influence on the art that you end up producing?
I think so, yeah. You know, if I want to draw something happy, I'll listen to poppy, pretty fast-paced music. If I'm going to draw something sad, then, you know, I'll just listen to music that's kind of like slow, maybe dreary a bit. Whenever I'm just like in a drawing mood, I don't care what I'm drawing, I'll just listen to whatever, basically. I'll just put a playlist on and just say randomize it, just, you know, surprise me.
Oh, okay. So you like to dip your foot in every genre, but is there any genres that you like don't like necessarily?
I'm not a very big fan of country or rap. Like, I've been trying to jump out of that zone, but like I just can't. Like, sometimes some of the songs are good, you find a few good ones out there that I like, and then sometimes you just go back into Huckleberry County. So sometimes it just depends.
Alright, now, because I know anybody who knows me or anybody who follows my Twitter or the many things that I talk about, official_H.E.C, plug myself in there. But anyways, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge fan of rap, and I know that you've personally experienced me trying to recommend you something, and I've witnessed in real time you try and then immediately give up on the attempt to listen. Funny sidebar story for you viewers out there. You could be friends with somebody and not like the same genres, because I know when I've tried to play rap, it's not favorable with you.
You really have, yes.
It's like, I have tried my damnedest, but we cannot get her to listen to rap. And it's not modern, because I know you don't listen to modern at all. You more or less listen to what I listen to is more classic for the 90s to the early 2000s. If I got to say a time frame, it's like 1990 to 2006, and that's about my time frame of the rap that I listen to. So when I put it on for you, I know it's just like, okay, this ain't working. We're gonna have to abort on this. Hand the aux cord either to you or your sibling.
Yeah, and we already know she lost her privileges for this.
Now, what is your opinion on what is your top 5 of artists, whether it be whatever genre, just 5 you could think of off the top of the head that you know you mainly listen to the most?
Top 5? Well, let me go ahead and just look at what I've been listening to very often so far. Okay, top favorite would be Jubyphonic, Lalia, 30 Seconds to Mars, Aviators, and Starset.
Alright, I was going to respect all of those, but then I just got reminded that Jared Leto played the Joker, so well, I'm going to have to give you a
How dare thou?
Alright. Yeah, but, you have multiple accounts. Like I said, on DeviantArt, you are displayed as, let me just quickly go back, you're displayed as LadyDeath1301 on DeviantArt. On Pinterest, same thing from what it seems, LadyDeath1301. Tumblr, you are known as The Plague, The Plague 1301. So, just out of curiosity here, was this pre-CV coronavirus or post-CV?
This was pre-CB, actually. It's because last year I kept getting sick repeatedly. You know, the flu here, strep over there. Again, the flu, and then I got hit by pneumonia at some point. So I just kind of thought to myself, delightful.
Fam, did you have the virus? Because it sounds like the virus.
No, recently I have not gotten sick at all. So that's a silver lining there.
Yay! All right, yay! Singing for you, motherfuckers, here at the South Sibs. Now, something I got to bring up because I thought it was comedic is that, you have a following, and I had told you that you had a following, and I had told you about Redbubble, and because I know we have our shirt on there on the South Sibs Redbubble. I think it's under the H.E.C. I'll bring it up or I'll show it on the screen. I just forgot the name of mine, but we have one shirt on there, and Redbubble gives you like the opportunity to make it on different things, whether it be stickers, decals, cups, mugs. So I had told you about it previously when we had made the first shirt for the South Sibs, and I don't know if maybe you got busy, but I remember the second time I told you about it, you were just like, where has this been all my life? And I was just like, I told you about this. But yeah, you have a Redbubble, ladies and gentlemen. The Plague 13. What do you have to say about your Redbubble? What other than me telling you about it, what necessarily made you feel the motivation to actually start putting stuff on there to start selling? Is it because of the fact that commissions have been working for you, or what's your opinion on that?
On this one, it was more of the fact that, you told me about this, and I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. So I kind of just decided, I guess I'll go ahead and do this then.
Yeah, like what I see is the beautiful Dragon King of the Sky. I noticed you haven't put the watermark on it, so I'm just going to give you a heads up. You should probably put the watermark on it. But yes, I see the Dragon of the Sky t-shirt. That's the one that I'm debating which one I should get. I'm a huge mark for dragons. Mark being a wrestling term for mega fan. But yes, I'm a huge mark for dragons. So you got me at a tough choice here between the White Dragon and the King of the Sky shirt, but rest assured I am going to be getting one of these shirts because, you do have art for sale now. You've done the vending for sale. Do you feel like are you trying to make a secondary career out of art, or do you feel like art has its place but you're putting it under wraps for now?
Okay, like I said, it's more of a hobby. So it's not really something I'm going to be jumping the boat and saying that this is my career choice. I am still going to school. As you can tell from me talking earlier about, whenever my homework's not kicking my ASS. But I think right now it's just mostly on the back burner because it's not something that, I'm always going to be just doing.
Right. But does it fascinate you? Because these aren't baby numbers we're dealing with. You have more, viewers on your page than I do subscribers or views at the moment. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully we both go on the up and up. But you don't have like a baby following. In fact, your DeviantArt says that it's approximately, let me just pop up back to it real quick if you don't mind. It says 52 watchers, but it says 1.2k views. So that's 1,200 individuals who are looking at your page, who are fascinated by your art. So what makes you keep this level of humbleness? Because you're very humble when it comes to discussing your art. Like, you treat it like almost like if it's nothing, but the numbers say otherwise. Like, this is extreme skill. What's keeping you from being very chill about?
Reality, it's more of the fact that, I just don't really see my artwork as being, something that should be hurrah about. I know that's kind of, kind of that, I guess, but like, it's more of like, I think artists have a thing where, like, everybody else's art is amazing except for their own. I've heard this so many times said by other artists that, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, it's this, or it's this, and they talk very negatively about their own art, and, I look at it and I think to myself, that's fucking amazing. But then I do the exact same thing where I'll look at my own art and I'll also think to myself, wow, what kind of crap did I just draw?
Now, why do you think artists are so critical of their own art, though? Is it because these, like I said, you have a following. You have a very strong following. So the fact that you are very, I would say, humble about it, but it seems as if you're are you not impressed by it, or what do you feel like if it's not up to quality? Because from a perspective of an outsider, and this is just me giving you my own perspective, this is amazing art. Like, I wouldn't, anyone who knows me knows I'm very meticulous and cheap. I'm not buying a fucking t-shirt unless it's something that I really, really want to wear. And what you have, you know, from your Redbubble page, you know, the Plague 13, once again, just drop it in there. But it is something that I want to wear. I'm just like debating which one to get because of the fact that it's fascinating to me. It's really good quality art to me. Why do you think artists are so critical on their art? Is it because of the fact that they're the ones who made it, so they know, you know, the level of difficulty, or they know what they were striving for? Because I know, like, okay, so I make thumbnail art, but that's basically for my video. It's not like any profession. I'm not putting it up on no DeviantArt for the moment, but it's just the thumbnail art that I do. It's just basic to me, but I'm fine with it. I know it could be better. Is it one of those things where you have this preconception on what you want the piece to be in your head, and unless it comes out like that piece in your head perfectly, you feel kind of disappointed by it? It takes others to tell you that your art is good? Or why do you feel like artists, and especially just on yourself, why is there such harsh criticism on your own art?
Okay, that's one of those things where, like, you kind of, like, think about it later on, you're thinking to yourself, wow, pretty fucking stupid for thinking like that. But I guess it's more on the fact that, you know, a lot of artists, and I'm not going to speak for all of them, a lot of artists, you know, they know how much went into how, you know, they know how much work was put into the drawing itself.
I would imagine they would feel justified. Do you feel like you don't work hard enough on your pieces? Because for you to treat it as nonchalantly as you do is fascinating to me because of the fact that it has picked up so much traction. So for you to treat it as if it's a nonchalant thing, but there's a lot of people who are saying, man, this is incredible. When 1.2K views, you don't feel as if one of these people considers you as one of their personal favorite artists?
I don't really know how to answer that one. I guess just, you know, being an artist myself, it's kind of, you know, one of those things where it's just, you don't really know how to explain.
Because I know, like, there was an artist who in our school, me and you both know, I'm not going to say their name, but it was you probably know who it is because of how comedic I was when it came to, like, making fun of, and it wasn't me trying to be mean-spirited or evil. I was just to tell her to calm down, because I would always tell her to calm down to the severity of it, but she would almost give herself anxiety attacks over the most minute details. Do you think that has a negative aspect to your health then, for you to just, like, be as critical on yourself as you feel? Because you've commented previously that you called yourself the plague on one because of the fact that you were consistently getting sick. Do you just feel like, do you think it's bad health-wise to be so critical for yourself?
Yeah, I think it really is one of those things where it's just not a good idea to do, because, you know, you're always, like, stressing out, you're always freaking out over the next thing because you're always worried that maybe it's not enough. Yeah, it kind of does sometimes have a very negative impact on health.
Okay, so I'm not trying to, you know, be braggadocio, and I'm not trying to, you know, be self-promoting here, but do you think that things like this nature, because I'm assuming that I'm the first person to ever interview you on this, just in general, do you feel like it's one of those things where because you can't physically see these followers, or you're not physically seeing their compliments, that you're not able to just fully grasp necessarily how favored amongst the, you know, DeviantArt world you are? Or do you feel as if it's one of those things where if you get bombarded with compliments, it's going to make you more uncomfortable?
Yeah, I think it's more to do with the fact that I don't really do well, as you can tell from, you know, how my answers are here. I'm not really one of these things of, like, being very comfortable with talking about, you know, a lot of the artwork and stuff like that, because usually, you know, there's really nothing for me to say, because it's just something, you know, I worked on, so I'm not really jumping onto the whole, oh, this is awesome, whatever, whatnot. Because, you know, I just see my artwork as just a hobby. I don't think of it as anything other than that.
Right, but when you see, like, the immense positive response, is it because you don't physically see it that maybe that's what's bothering you? Or do you think that if you were to physically see it and you were to be bombarded by it, it would just push you away from the art world entirely?
No, not really.
Right, because, you say it's just a hobby, but you have profited from this. People have paid for your commissions. You would have to imagine that once, like, actual income came in from it, you would see that. Do you think that once income came in from it, you started to see that, hey, people have a more appreciation, that they're willing to put, their hard-earned cash on it? Because me and you both work, so, for, like, purchasing side items that aren't essential items, that's kind of a big deal. Well, have you ever thought of it that way, that somebody's actually taken the time to put their hard-earned work and their hard-earned income from their work to purchase an art piece from me? Has that thought ever kind of hit your mind before?
Yeah, I have every now and then. But I think it's just the fact that, since I'm the person who's drawing it out, and I'm the one who knows how much work I put into it, I'm always thinking to myself, oh, I could have done better, or I could have changed this for this. But there's always the smallest thing that makes you think to yourself it wasn't the best, or you could have done it a lot better.
There's a fine line between poor confidence and between humbling oneself. Where do you feel as if your critiques of your art or the way how you speak of your art is on that line?
I already know that, I'm already down the back burner of the whole. I'm way too critiquey of my work. I think a lot of artists are really too critiquey of their work. There are some of them out there that are, very proud of their artwork, but then there's a very vast majority of us who don't really, who are just kind of, it's okay, I guess.
Right. Well, hopefully, from what I see and from what I can hear, hopefully you get a lot more comfortable with that. You get to see a lot more of your fans, and hopefully you get to interact with a lot more of your fans. Have you interacted with a fan physically? Have you ever physically interacted with a fan?
Physically interacted with a fan?
Excluding myself.
I know a few friends from college know who I am, and they do like my artwork as well. But I've never really interacted face to face with one of those fans who are like, oh, hey, I found your artwork online and whatever. No previous contact from them before.
Okay. Now, something that I wanted to ask you, because I know, and it is coming off as if you are kind of uncomfortable in this interview, so I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable, and I'm not trying to bother you, but I have to ask. There's a difference between when me and you personally talk about your artwork and from when you talk about the artwork on the show. What necessarily is adding this pressure or this thing in response to it? Is it because of the fact that this is going to go on a stream, on a public platform like YouTube, or is it because of the fact that you're very private about your art and your details sometimes? You're public in displaying it, but not in regards to the making of it. Is it the concept of this going public that's kind of putting this pressure on you? Because you kind of sound uneasy, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, in a way, that is actually the reason why.
Yeah,
it's kind of nerving to know that, a lot of other people are going to be watching this, so. Right,
because when I made this priority-wise, I wasn't trying to make you uncomfortable, and I wasn't trying to put any pressure on you. I just felt as I'm one of those people who is a fan of your artwork, is impressed by your artwork, and I see that there's so many people who are fans and are impressed by your artwork that I more or less kind of wanted to, give them a glimpse that otherwise they wouldn't necessarily get. Because I would imagine, had I had a bigger stage or had I been at a bigger level, do you feel like you would ever go on television and talk about your artwork, or do you feel like you would be too uncomfortable with something like that?
I think, any artist is going to be uncomfortable with, having all of their stuff put out on blast kind of like that.
Right. Because this is a show that's in its baby stages right now, the South Sibs. And I had just wanted to see, more or less, I wasn't trying to be exploitive. I was asked, because I had asked you beforehand, because I had asked you all the way since me and you were originally supposed to have a podcast, all the way back in 2016. But then when I knew more about your artwork, I wanted to ask, because I know you necessarily didn't want to stick to the podcast itself. You more or less kind of wanted to focus on your art and focus on what you were doing career-wise. So what I wanted to, let you know, and why I was letting this interview go along, is because of the fact that I'm not trying to be exploitive of it. I know how you talk about your art on one hand, but I never really got to see the extent of you talking about your art on this level, because it's one thing between personal, and it's another thing between something that's going to be broadcasted. But do you feel like this is kind of expletive? Are you okay, or is everything fine with this interview?
I'm okay with the interview. It's just that, having all my artwork kind of posted out there, even for this long, it still gets unnerving, whenever, or it's still kind of like weird whenever somebody acknowledges your work, because you're used to people just, sending you a kudos, or like just typing it out, not coming up to you and asking about it in person, or, from voice chat.
Okay, so are you afraid of the interaction that you're going to be getting after this episode, or why? Because you could have easily said no. Like, if you would have said no, I would have understood it, I would have canceled it. But why necessarily did you feel like, why did you want to be on this?
I guess, like I said before, getting out of your comfort zone is like, good for you most of the time. But I guess, the reason why I decided to go ahead and go forward with this interview was because, I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. Even if, it's something that I'm really not comfortable doing, it'll be it'll be an experience that's different.
Okay, and just out of curiosity, why necessarily start off with somebody like me? Because you've seen the videos. This is a new thing for the South Sibs to actually, you're the first person who we've interviewed separately. You've seen the videos, you've seen the work that I put behind it, because you're my personal friend, but I'm just not going to give any more details on that because, anonymity is key here. But why necessarily did you want to go on this one of all the platforms that you could have gone on? Because you could have just gone on, your own platform, or you could have set up your own thing. But why necessarily this one? Why the South Sibs?
Because you asked. That's literally, sincerely, the only reason why, I agreed to do an interview, because you politely asked me to do so.
Okay. Do you feel like you're gonna find yourself doing, with the challenging to yourself? I really hope that after this interview, I hope 3 things happen. Number 1, I hope you get the positive feedback, because I feel like that'd be very important for you to see, especially because of the fact that a lot of your fans are now getting a glimpse into something that they haven't seen prior to this. This is a baby step, and it's always fun to know more about your favorite artists. And with the fact that you have commissions, and the fact that you have a Redbubble, people want to know more about someone who they're really favorable of. And so I'm hoping that after this you get, like I said, number 1, you get the positive feedback that you need, because I feel like you need to hear it. Because it's one thing for me to compliment you and tell you about it, but we were friends prior to me even finding out about your art. And I feel like I know when it comes to me and it comes to like speaking to certain people, you feel like there's this kind of bias towards it. So if that's the case, hopefully this will showcase, no, you have skills, people are fascinated by your skills. I am going to be trying to show some of your artwork on the screen as this interview goes on. 2, hopefully it brings more eyes to you, and then you could develop more of those fans. And 3rd, hopefully this goes smooth, and hopefully, self-purposes, goddammit. Gotta be honest. Hopefully it looks good for me too, shit, But, yeah, I'm very glad that we got this conversation. I'm very glad that you were able to speak on it. Where are you going to be posting the art piece that you're working on as we're doing the show? Where are you going to post that piece on? Are you going to do it on Instagram?
That one's probably just going to be posted on DeviantArt, the usual place.
Okay. All right, let me just quickly give a plug and a shout out to where all your stuff. Okay, so if you're going on DeviantArt and if you're looking for this artist, it's Lady Death 1301. You have a subtitle that says 3 a.m. artist, which is pretty hilarious. But there it is, Lady Death 1301. Same thing for, where am I at here? Same thing for Pinterest, Lady Death 1301. And then you also have a subtitle near that one in brackets that's below. But you're only going to put the Lady Death 1301. You know, if you're looking for it on Pinterest or DeviantArt. I'm not trying to confuse anybody who's trying to look for art because art's really fascinating. Yes, Lady Death 1301. Now, for Tumblr, the Plague 1301 is previously stated. Redbubble, the Plague 13. You can shop for exclusive merchandise on some very fascinating art. It's very detailed, very nice. I'm probably going to pick up a shirt. I'm still debating which shirt to get, but rest assured I will be getting a shirt, everybody. I'm not going to bring her on and then not get a fucking shirt, all right? Support your friends. God damn it. And Instagram, let me see. I had found it on Instagram and I had just brought you up. Okay. And on Instagram, you can be found as The Plague of 1301. How do you feel now that we're towards the end, now that we're closing out? How do you feel about this interview? Is there anything that you feel could have been worked on, or what do you feel? Do you feel like you've been asked everything you needed to be asked?
Yeah.
All right. Is there any points out there that maybe I don't know about, or maybe I didn't ask the question and there's something that you've been eagerly wanting to talk about? Or do you think we kind of hit everything here?
No, we kind of hit everything here.
All right. Well, I just got to finish editing this. I'll post it as soon as it finishes. Thank you, lady, once again for your time. I appreciate it. I've mentioned all the sites. Please go follow her. She's an incredible artist. And hopefully everything goes well for both of us. I really appreciate your art. Please, goddammit, realize you have some huge fan appreciation. But thank you for your time. I appreciate everything. You've been an incredible guest for, I believe, our first guest on here. Because I know we have our side co-hosts who occasionally come on. But you are the official first guest of the Sibs. So how you feel about that, huh?
Well, it's an experience.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. You have a good one.
You too.